Can you dry fire firearms that fire rimfire? Try saying that 3 times fast. Well, let's get right into it. Your first go-to, of course, would be the manufacturer and what it says in your manual. But generally speaking, it depends on the firearm. But there are some pitfalls that you might want to be aware of. Let's get into it.
Let's take a look at a 22 rimfire. This is 22 long rifle. It's a Ruger Wrangler. Now, Ruger says that you can dry fire these. I do not, unless I'm using a snap cap. But what I want you to see is, you can see, hopefully, the indent there where the head stamp, where the casing is up against the firing pin. There we go. Okay, so obviously the fire pin isn't going to the center. It's not a center fire, it's a rim fire. So it's going to hit on the very edge. It's going to hit on the very edge of each bore, of each chamber. Well, that's why you got to have some ductile metal like brass or a snap cap. Now, like I said, Ruger says that you can dry fire these, but I've seen some examples online of where some did fire this exact same gun, but they ended up, I've seen pictures and videos of where you could see where that firing pin was hitting on the side and there were indentations. And then in some cases, they weren't even able to put a round in the chamber here until they took a file to it. Now, I kind of understand the theory here. If you look at each chamber, there's a recessed area. See that? So the theory being is that that fire pin should be able to hit, the brass or the snap cap. We'll put this back together. Now, let me show you something else. Okay, so here you can see the snap caps. And in my opinion, when they start looking deformed like this, it's time to get rid of them and get new ones. But yeah, you can tell I was sort of blasting away at these. Now here is another Rimfire Heritage Rough Rider, and I've got the Magnum cylinder in here right now. Now here is a good example of one that you should never ever dry fire unless, again, for sure you need the snap caps here, because if you look at each one here in the cylinder, you look at each chamber in the cylinder here, there is no recessed area. See that? So that firing pin is going to strike the cylinder if nothing is there. So here we have another rimfire. This is a Walther WMP 22 Magnum. Now, it's said online that Walther says that you can dry fire this. Now, this is hearsay. I don't know that for sure. That's what people say. But I actually have my Walther safety and instruction manual, and I looked through it. I could not see anything about dry fire. The only thing that I saw was decocking, which decocking consists of making sure you're empty, pulling the slide back, letting it go forward, and then pulling the trigger to decock. Now, essentially what we just did is dry fire. But I'm not going to make a habit of it. That's just what you can do when you need to decock it. So the takeaway for me is I try to avoid dry firing, and if I do I'll never dry fire practice this unless I get some snap caps, which I have 22 snap caps, which right now I have in this Ruger Wrangler. So hopefully that helped you out. If it did, give it a like, give it a comment, even if it's just to say hi. Helps the algorithm. All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.